I'm Vinny Politan. We continue our investigation of the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. With every new development, there is some renewed hope that she'll be found and renewed prayers that she will be alive. But now the case is falling off the front page. Here's the story. Nancy Guthrie is 84 years old, a mother, a grandmother, a woman who lived quietly in the Catalina foothills just north of Tucson. On Saturday, January 31st, she returned home around 9:45 p.m. after dinner with family. By morning, she was gone. When she didn't show up for church the next day, relatives checked on her. Inside her home, something was wrong. Deputies quickly declared the residence a crime scene. Authorities say the evidence indicates Nancy did not leave voluntarily, and blood confirmed to be hers was found outside. Then came the twist. Surveillance video capturing a masked figure on her porch during the night, reportedly carrying a backpack and what appeared to be a gun. Security systems were disabled. Now, the investigation is scaling back, yet still, no suspect named, no proof of life released, and the nation watches, waiting for the next break. So the biggest moment when the most people thought, okay, this is it. They have found something, they have found someone. This is a huge development in the case, was on a Friday night that went late into Friday into Saturday morning when investigators stopped this Range Rover at a Culver's. They searched it, they detained the driver, then they seized the vehicle. And we're like, okay, this is a big moment. I mean, they're gonna find some evidence, right? Or there's a reason why this vehicle is connected to all of this, right? There's gotta be some evidence. Let's bring back in CourtTV field reporter Cody Thomas. All right, Cody, what can you tell us about when this Range Rover was seized and taken by investigators?
Yeah, Vinny, so this all went down about 2 weeks after Nancy Guthrie was reported missing. This went down on February 13th, that Friday. This SWAT operation that targeted this Range Rover and the owner of that Range Rover, a man named Luke Daly, alongside his mother, a woman named Mary. Now, Daly was, of course, detained outside that Culver's restaurant while his Range Rover was searched and towed. But he also says he was not given a clear answer about why he was being detained, why he was being investigated while sitting in the back of a cop car for hours. Now, Arizona's family true crime correspondent Brianna Whitney spoke to Luke Daly about what happened on that night he was detained driving home in his new Range Rover. Take a listen.
They pulled me over at the Culver's right there, asked me to get out of the car, didn't tell me what it was about. So they had me cuffed in the back of a cop car, detained. I was asking, like, what am I being detained for? And they wouldn't tell me anything. They just said that the detectives would be there to talk to me. And once I saw, like, FBI and all the other cars start pulling in, I'm like, oh, this is probably about the Guthrie case. I'm like, this should be easy. Like, I have nothing to do with this, so it should be not a big deal to clear my name and move on.
Now, Vinny, Daly was released that same night. Yet again, another person of interest detained and then released, and he has since gotten his Range Rover back. But he says many people online continue to kind of berate him because they say he fits the description, the physical description of that suspect that we've seen on that doorbell camera video. And something else that Daly says, Vinny, he also says people online have posted about his criminal past that is related to drug charges that are obviously public record, but he says those charges have nothing to do with this case and this investigation into finding Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, and people talking about that, you know, demonstrates why in a criminal trial, prosecutors can't put that evidence in front of a jury. Because once people find out someone's got a record, they put two and two together. But as Cody said, the Range Rover was returned. Which brings us to the next question in our investigation. Why was the Range Rover seized? Like, it was seized, they took it, they've returned it, they detained him, they released him. What's going on here? Joining us founding member of the NYPD K-9 unit, former Nassau County Police Lieutenant Mike Gould is with us, and former homicide detective with more than 20 years working homicides and high-profile cases, Phil Waters, is also here. All right, Mike, what are your thoughts here, your theories about what went into and why they seized this Range Rover?
Yeah, Vinny. So originally, although I didn't agree, but they were operating on the presumption that this was a kidnapping and they had to get to the person as quickly as possible. They were dealing with a tremendous amount of leads, and a description of this vehicle came on across their radar. They stopped it. They, exigent circumstances. When you have a kidnap victim, exigent circumstances trump search warrants and so forth. But the vehicle itself, the Range Rover, has a very sophisticated event data recorder. If you remember, that was used a lot in the Karen Reed case, where it tells the speed, its turns, its lateral movement, its braking, when it goes in reverse. So I think that's it. That was a lead, and that was it. It got a lot of media attention. I blame the sheriff. I always have. Not the sheriff deputies, not the investigators, but the sheriff should have been clearing up a lot of these things all along. Instead, he blamed the media, actually, for asking too many questions about whether the family was involved. That's a perfectly legitimate question to ask if family and friends were part of this. And he refused to. He sounded more like the PR person for the family, frankly, than he did for the investigation. So that's my point. It was a lead. They investigated it. If it goes somewhere, it does, and it may not.
All right, Phil, the vehicle's been returned, number one, apparently. Do you think it was about the vehicle or the person behind the wheel of the vehicle that led to this seizure?
Oh, I think it was a little bit of both. They've got, as Mike's already alluded to, they've received thousands of leads, and there's a lot of branches to this investigative tree, and this was just one of them. So they're pursuing a lead that led them to this individual, and they're going to execute his search warrants, I believe, at his residence, and then they've got their eyes on him and the vehicle. And whether or not it was implicated in some sort of lead that they received or some sort of information that they garnered from some other source, who knows? But there was enough of a need here to stop the individual, detain him for a period of time, seize the vehicle, and have it processed. And then once they finish processing it and they've gotten any kind of probative evidence out of it, then they return the vehicle to them. That's kind of the protocol of an investigation.
So, Mike, in this investigation, we've seen the sheriff come out and clear the family, right? Because early on, social media, just people in general were talking a lot about the family, as they always do in these types of cases, and sort of zeroed in on the son-in-law, Tommaso, but the sheriff was very direct in clearing all family members, including spouses, in all of this. Should the same thing be done for other people who have been stopped and detained and released? Should the sheriff come out, especially in a case like this that is so high profile, where, people are going to be very suspicious of anyone who is somehow approached by law enforcement?
Yeah, Vinny. Well, as I said earlier, the sheriff is obviously not a media relations expert. He's not a good representation. He's not a public information officer. So with that said, and I keep repeating myself because he did come out aggressively towards the public and the media for asking questions about friends and relatives. The son-in-law, he was a natural person to talk about, if not for the only reason he was the last witness. He was an eyewitness to where she was dropped off. So he came out too late. And of course, he should not exonerate people. Nobody can be exonerated here. Even the family can't fully be exonerated. But he should come out and say, he just has to state the facts at a press conference, not these one-off interviews he does with people, and he says your guess is as good as mine. This is not what it just makes conspiracy theories go wild. So he could have tamped this down. And I don't like to criticize. I know I've been in that position. I've been criticized many times for everything I've done, frankly.
But never on this show. I've never criticized you on this show, Mike Gould.
Oh.
All right. Hold your thoughts right there, guys. Phil and Mike are staying with us. Coming up next, what brought the SWAT team to that Catalina Foothills home?
Searching someone's home is a really big issue to law enforcement.
This is the story of the Richins. Eric, a father of 3, met an untimely end, and Corey, his widow, wrote a children's book on grief.
She's also charged now with his murder.
He was faced with betrayal and terror.
I know her innocence.
Is their story a tragic romance?
Or a twisted tale of grief?
The truth will come out.
The Grief Author Murder Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, 8, 7 Central on CourtTV.
Searching someone's home is a really big issue to law enforcement. Not because you can gain evidence, but because you could be violating someone's right. Your home is your sanctity. So we look at that breach and take it very serious. So much so that we do check with county attorneys and different prosecutors, U.S. attorneys, and we review it with a judge. And based on all of that, we make a decision whether or not we have enough for a search warrant. If the judge approves, we go.
And it seems they did have some judicial approvals in this case. Let's bring back in CourtTV field reporter Cody Thomas. Cody, let's talk about that SWAT raid at a home in the Catalina Foothills. Again, we go back to what, the Friday the 13th, all this happened.
Right, Vinny, and it's important you mentioned that date because this went down the morning of the 14th on Valentine's Day, and it was related to that SWAT movement of the Range Rover at the Culvers because the home is where Luke Daly's mother, Mary, was living. So that's where they're both connected. He was at the Culvers, Mary was at the house. Now, this house was close to Nancy's home, which is why everyone thought it was a big deal once SWAT was put into motion. And in fact, the Pima County Sheriff's Department posted this statement on X the morning of February 14th. They say, quote, law enforcement activity is underway at a residence near East Orange Grove Road and North First Avenue related to the Guthrie case. Because this is a joint investigation, at the request of the FBI, no additional information is currently available. And Vinny, we have images from that night of the raid in front of the house. In those images, you can see the big armored vehicles there. You see that big one here on the screen, along with other vehicles from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And Vinny, what we also have a map of the SWAT search map, again, showing how close in proximity this home was to Nancy's. And I remember seeing this headline, Vinny, thinking they found the guy. I mean, SWAT is in motion. They're at a home. They're raiding. They're doing the Culvers raid with the Range Rover. They're raiding this house. This has to be it. But again, Mary, just like her son Luke, was released. Now, Arizona's family true crime correspondent Brianna Whitney spoke with Luke Daly's mother, Mary Chapman Daly, about the night her home was raided. Take a listen.
They came in the big SWAT vehicles, pulled into my driveway, and said they wanted to, they wanted to see anything that could link anything. I said, well, yeah, go ahead. I mean, so they were there for about 6 hours. And I was in the SWAT vehicle, and they went through my house and went through everything and tore everything, broke my, if a door was locked, they would break it open to go see what was in there. There really wasn't anything in there, but, it was pretty upsetting.
So, Vinny, yet again, all of this motion, all of this action just to be left back at square one.
Unbelievable. All right, Cody Thomas, great job tonight. All right, that brings us to the final question in our investigation this hour. What brought the SWAT team to that Catalina Foothills home? Still with us, Mike Gould, and joining us, criminal defense attorney, retired police officer Joe Hennessy. Joe, we've been talking a lot about probable cause tonight. How would you describe that level of evidence? That when we talk about it all the time, but how would you describe, that level of evidence? We watch trials here on CourtTV. We know about beyond a reasonable doubt. Where do you kind of put this? Because someone's home is being searched, someone's vehicle is being seized, and people are being detained.
Probable cause is a very low standard. It's kind of like a 50-50 chance. So that's probably what they're looking at. If they have a belief, I believe it's called the objective reasonableness test. If they believe that something is happening in that house, there's evidence to be found, they're going to seek a search warrant, and that's what we had here. I disagree with the obtaining of the search warrant and the issuance of it, but I haven't read the affidavit. It's something that I would like to read.
We all want to get our hands on these affidavits we've been talking about all night. All right, Mike Gould, the other big part of this whole thing when it happened that night into the early morning hours was that it was this huge SWAT raid. These big armored vehicles are going in. And a lot of people were reading into that. Do you think they expected or suspected that they were going to come across and find Nancy and find, people with guns trying to fight them off?
Yeah, Vinny. So that's kind of what I always thought. If you come with a SWAT team, it's not just a search for evidence, right? You don't need a SWAT team to present a search warrant and come into somebody's house and search for evidence. So it's my belief that they actually thought that Nancy was there, or there was evidence that she was there. And just to make a point, exigency, if somebody's in danger, their life is in danger, you don't need a search warrant if you have reasonable cause, probable cause to believe that Vinnie Politan is holding somebody in his house. We can just come through the front door if we can articulate why we did that. Why would we go get a judicial warrant if I think that somebody's being hurt or killed inside of somebody's home? So, yeah, I think they did. And again, we're all waiting to see their justification, but they must have had it because they went to that level of getting a judicial warrant, whether we agree with it or we disagree with it, they did it. So I don't think there's any, again, this is the cause of an investigation. It's not a homicide investigation. It's a kidnap investigation. So it takes on a whole different realm when you're dealing with a live person, right? Or presumably live person, which I didn't agree with to begin with, but that's what they were investigating. So time was of the essence, and exigency trumps search warrants every time.
Yeah, you're talking about my house, Mike. I think the only thing, you must have gotten a tip from a 10-pound Morkie who didn't get enough treats today and wants to break out. All right, Joe, so where do you think law enforcement is in all of this? And do you get a sense that these leads are dead ends and that they're desperately searching for something here? Or do you think that there is some sort of progress that we're not necessarily seeing?
I wish I had the full picture to give you a full answer. My opinion, I think they're searching for straws right now. I think every little tip that they're receiving, they're reaching out. I don't believe that they're meeting the objective reasonableness test, and I think they're just reaching for anything that they can right now.
Mike, the other thing that seems to have happened is that there's been a reduction in the manpower and woman power investigating all this, and it seems like it's much more focused into a task force at this point. What are your thoughts there? Do you think that might help things a little bit, a little more focus in the investigation?
Yeah, I think that we all come to realize, including the family, that this is a recovery. It's not a rescue. So that does change the metrics a little bit. But I don't think it's a cold case. It's by definition, it's not a cold case because hundreds of leads are still coming in. They all have to be exhausted. And 1 month into this, look, I was the first one to think that all the digital evidence, GPS, phone records, I thought this was going to be resolved in a week or two myself. When we had the full strength of the FBI director, the president of the United States opining on it, being optimistic. So I thought it was. But now, this is kind of traditional. It takes time. All these things, we're a month into what I believe is going to be a homicide investigation, whether it's a nobody homicide or she's recovered. And again, it's insensitive, I know, but these are the facts. You have to deal with facts. Hope springs eternal. I would like nothing more to be wrong on this.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of there. Big thanks. Mike Gould, Joe Hennessy, great to have you on the program. Appreciate it. The searches and seizures by law enforcement have been significant. They have some factual basis. However, at this time, despite all the resources and attention, they've led to nothing. But the lingering question is, are these dead ends or just step one? I'm Vinnie Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.